Right. So guys, what is actually involved when you're coming up with a concept? What is involved when you are working towards creating an independent story or an independent animation or an independent series of any kind? I wanted to talk to you about what all goes into those ideas. Which, give me a second. Let's see if I can bring this up. Because I want to show you guys. I want to talk about these ideas, guys. I really want to talk about this. Let's see. I'm going to make this visual, guys. I'm going to make this visual. I'm going to break out the drawing tablet and everything. Yeah. That's how you know it's getting serious, guys. That's how you know it's getting serious. Okay. Turn on. There we go, guys. There we go. And let me put up some cool little effects around this. Let me pop that there. We're gonna put some pretty little trees around this guy. So we'll add some fruit because you guys are being extra fruity. Okay. But let's talk about this, guys. So let's say you, a person who is in chat right now, is looking to start an indie animated concept. You are... Okay, hold on. It's breaking. The drawing board. Just also, thank you for the hydrate. Where the frick is my water? I lost my water. Give me a sec. Okay, I got my water again. Sorry. I realized my water was on the other side of the room, and I've been meaning to hydrate this whole time, and I have not been hydrating. I am so dry right now. Okay. Okay. We're back. Ooh. Okay. So let's use a text tool. Just as we're gonna write this out, guys. We're gonna write this out. Make that a little bigger. Size, bigger. I say at the FurCon. Bigger. Okay, there we go. So creating an indie concept. So generally, if I'm creating an indie concept, wow, that is an ugly color. Oh my gosh. I need this to be a better color right now. I'm gonna put that like a red. Put that up there. Yeah. That's better. A little darker. Okay. Someone now needs to draw Garflin holding Thor's hammer. So why do I need Thor's hammer? But okay, let's say we're getting ready to create an indie concept. So the first thing we need to start with, as you're like working on your concept, everything stems from story. Whether you, of course, if you're writing a story, that's going to be obvious because you're like, you've got to come up with an idea. But then let's say that you're trying to do an animation, or you have an idea for like a pilot or a webcomic. Everything is going to start from your scripts. Remember, guys, I will say this, and I'm not biased. Number one, script is king. If you are working on an animated pilot or a story concept of any kind, do not forget, script is king. This is your foundation. Everything, every movie that you have ever watched, every single show like Has Been or Tell or Heck of a Boss, they all start with a script, even if it's a storyboard. Because those of you who don't know, there are two ways that an animated series is produced. It's either script-driven or storyboard-driven. A script-driven series tends to be a series that's usually used more for 30-minute series. So if you see series like Gravity Falls, that is very script-driven. They start off with the script and then they do the art stemming from there. Whereas a show like SpongeBob, that is a storyboard-driven series, where the story is created predominantly using storyboards that the artists make up kind of on the fly. A storyboard-driven works better for series where the narrative is a bit looser. Hold Humper, we're gonna see Garflin showing his indie concert of Goonflin Land, the 18+ Garflin theme park. Frick you, Lion Drake. Frick you. But yes. So those are the two types of series. Let me look up something right quick. How to pair tablet pen to correct screens. Okay. Let's see. Emperor's New Groove didn't have a script. Yes, Emperor's New Groove was predominantly storyboard driven. That's why as you're watching Emperor's New Groove, you'll notice that sometimes a lot of things are just kind of happening for the lulz. Like in Emperor's New Groove, the story is like, it has a narrative thread because everything is going to start with a narrative thread. You have to have an idea as you're moving forward. But even in Emperor's New Groove, you'll notice the stylistic difference. Like Has-Been Hotel, very story driven. Therefore, it starts with a script. Emperor's New Groove, very much visual and gag driven. It's really funny as you're watching it, but you notice that the story isn't, let's say, like really strong to be impactful because it's not trying to be. Emperor's New Groove is trying to be visually imaginative and it's trying to be funny, but it's not trying to like tell a hard-hitting complex story. Those are kind of the differences that you'll see. Also, low-key, it's easier to edit a script than it is to edit a storyboard-driven show. Because if you're editing a script, you go back to a paragraph and you're like, okay, I need to change this, and you can move it around basically like index cards. With a storyboard-driven show, even if the sketches are kind of quick, you do have to keep creating those sketches over and over and over and over again. And if something changes, you'll have to create a new set of sketches. Let's say it could be anywhere from like 10 new sketches to like 100 new sketches, depending on the complexity of what you're working with. That's what. Like, it's just easier to do script, but also storyboard will give a lot more, has the potential to create a lot more visual interest and a lot more control to the artists themselves. I heard they made stuff up as they go and it's all improv. There are definitely moments like that. A lot of, like, it's always said, so it's always said when it comes to like any type of like film media, that a story is written 3 times. Once in the writer's room or storyboard rooms, if we're talking about animation. Once when it is being filmed, because the actors are going to improv, they're going to change things, they are going to make up new things and add things that were never thought about. And once when it is edited. Because during the editing process, the editor has so much power to change the entire structure of the narrative. Like, they will set tone that, like, people never thought about. They can change angles to be very meaningful. Editing is its whole language just by itself. Let's see, 100 new sketches because Garflin wants chips instead of fries. Okay, listen. I will always take the fries. Fries are the best option. I have no idea what you mean. Fries are base. Doomsday 1% bottom? Ah, you know, that suits Doomsday. Actually, no, it doesn't. Doomsday's a massive bottom. I don't know why I said that. Just edit this? Why am I editing a flaming booty hole? And thank you, Astro. But anyway. So, you've got an idea, which, guys, actually, let's actually make this practical, guys. Make this practical for me. Somebody give me an idea give me a concept, guys. Give me just a vague concept for like, let's say, just like an indie anime, like something about that you want to see in an animated series. Give me just some vague concepts. Throw some things out there. We'll use that as our example as we're like moving forward. So again, we'll go back to that to say about like little elements of how it's done. Gay furry at the soup store. Boom. You got it, Pepper. You got it. And we're back from Sundance. Welcome back, Broadway. Welcome in. How are you doing? It's so good to see you. Well, logic of Doomsday being 1% bottom, that means he's 99% top. Listen, the number 30. Garflin is locked outside without pants. No. Pepper was first. Pepper was first. Okay. Gay furry at a soup store. Let's use We'll use Pepper as our main character, just because Pepper's right there. Also, let me give you a shout out, Broadway. How was Sundance? This is
if I'd physically
okay.
Mothman.
But yeah. So, so this is the first thing you should know when you are creating your concepts.
Like,
script
hey,
is king.
All right.
2, character is more important than plot.
Steve, you see
that is something that a lot plot or world building. Okay. So this is where a lot of creators, they get stuck and they trip up because they don't realize that character is the most important plot point of any 3 men are hot. 3 men hold on. Number 3, men are hot and I want them. No, we're not doing that. No. Go back. That was a joke. Okay. So here's the way that I normally start off when I'm creating something for like a pilot or a show or an indie project. The first thing I want to know is I start with the aesthetic. I'll think, what kind of feeling do I want to have going on in this concept? What kind of emotional tone? How does it feel? Story writing has its own music to it. It has a rhythm that you have to get in tune to. It's like the rhythm of language. Bottom bunny noises. I find men hot. Dang it, this is just going to be a story about hot men, isn't it? I'm just going to be trying to teach you guys about story development, and you guys are going to be like, more hot men, more hot men, more hot men. Okay. But yeah. So generally, I start with an aesthetic. I ask what the tone is. Is it going to be funny? Is it going to be dramatic? I ask what the feel is. I have a bit of synesthesia, guys. So for those of you who don't know what synesthesia means that the senses kind of mix up with each other sometimes. So it's like how Tuesday is yellow. That doesn't make sense. But to me, Tuesday is yellow. Or like music will be a certain color, or like certain colors feel different ways to me. It's not like severe, but it's just like that little bit. So that's why senses, like big sensory things, are super interconnected for someone like me. But anyway, so let's see. Tuesday is red. Tuesday is yellow. I think Saturday is red. Tuesday always been more amber to me. See, you get it. Words can have color, and that's really interesting, right? But anyway. So I start with my tone and concepts. I start kind of feeling out what kind of genre or world I want to build. So I think maybe like I did a desert project, and I thought, I want a project set in the desert. How does that feel? What kind of characters would be there? But the thing is, here's what a lot of people get stuck. As much as we want a really cool world, like a desert kind of environment or a sci-fi world, none of that means anything if your characters are not evocative. Your characters are the vehicle through which the audience experiences the world. And like, take for example, the Avatar movies. Not Avatar Last Airbender, but the blue sexy alien Avatar. Take that. The world in Avatar, absolutely gorgeous. Avatar is a film series that has a lot of beautiful world building and mechanics to it. The biggest comment people have, though, where it falls short, is sometimes the characters don't feel relatable. They don't feel like you could connect to them or ride along with them so much. Because even though the world is beautiful, if you can't connect to Jake Sully, I think is his name, or any of his family, it's not going to be something that draws you in. And the people at Avatar know that. So they tried to make the character as evocative as possible by giving him struggles. Also, they added a sex scene, and that obviously is going to sell. So Make your character your most important feature. Because there are even series out there that take place in ordinary settings like a soup store right here that we're going to be doing right now. And if the character is interesting enough or unique enough, then people will follow along with that story. Anyway, so our character right now is Salted Pepper. We start to break down who is Salted Pepper in the context of our story. Right now, it's Salted Pepper. We know Salted Pepper. They are lovely. They are fun. They are a beautiful soul. They like to wear femboy clothing. They are on VR chat 99% of the time that they are not directly in the office. They have a lot of pie shocks. These are elements that make Pepper unique as a character. They have a lovely little uwu voice. So we already kind of have the tone going on. Let's see, I've seen a lot of color association in David Lynch's work. Like, he uses color to very distinctively note when reality is about to start going right out the window. The ponytail giggity scene is why I am the way I am today. A sample of this going wrong at Shima because they focused too much on world building and nobody knew who the villain was. Exactly. Do not let your world building overwhelm your character. Because once again, the character is the vehicle that drives us through the world. If your character is plain toast vanilla, we don't want to get in a car in the first place to see the rest of the world. Also, hi Sleepy, welcome on in. How's it going? Sleepy, you came in on a day we're talking about story structure. That is so appropriate to have you here for that.
He got bigger.
Anyway. Anyway. Sorry, let me get some water right quick. Okay. Sorry, I had to burp, guys. I had to burp. Okay. But yeah. So, second rule, character is king. So now we know our character, we know our setting, it's a soup store. The vibe we're going for, let's gonna say it's... Guys, give me a genre. Is this comedy? Is this horror? Is this sci-fi? Is this fantasy? What kind of genre do we want to work with? Because that's very important to know early on. What genre are you working with if you are in the process of story creation? Because different genre have different erotica. out of all the possible genres you could have picked, Thanos, you chose erotica. Why? Dear God, why? Horny comedy, you know, sure, we'll go with that. Also, hi, Star. Oh my gosh, Star. I never get to see you. How are you doing, Star? Guys, go follow Star. They are our absolute favorite Minecraft streamer. You are going to love our lovely Minecraft streamer, Star.
I think this is France. I think it's France.
How you doing? I'm good eating breakfast. Good morning. Wow, you woke up late, dear. Anyway. So we have our main character. We have our story concept. It is a horny comedy in the middle of a soup store. Okay, so we've got those put together. Now what we're going to need is we're going to need to start breaking down the idea of the story structure itself. And guys, story structure has a pretty unique formula, which you don't often think about this in story structure. But there's actually a little bit of sort of math when it comes to story structure. There's a little, because it's not just a story's happening. The most famous stories you can probably think of all follow a very specific structure called a 3-act structure. Hold on, let me write that down. 3-act structure. It's really like 4 acts, but this is how they say it in like the industry.
Creating an indie concept? Okay, first will be Orange Cat that have a Twitch channel. And is sussy and vor lover. His name is Garflin.
So the news story we're going with is Atomic Commander gets hit by a bus. No. See, I kidnapped Garf for Minecraft tourney once. Yeah, that's your whole reputation now. That's just who you are. But okay. So let me show you guys. Let's see, horny comedy superstore. Now, if you're doing a 3-act structure, how do you avoid it feeling too catalog-y? Okay. So there's a formula, and it's not necessarily like you're going to be sticking to this. But this is basically a rough thing that you can use. It's a tool. You can alter this tool however you feel like. God, why is that color so awful? I'm going to put this in blue. I want to put this in blue now. Okay. 3-act structure. Okay, very important, guys. So if you are developing a story, this is going to be very important to you. Strange question. Your new job allows you to have weekends off, right? Yes, I won't be processed into that new job for a couple more weeks. But, once I do get this new job, I will have weekends off, and OMG, I am so excited. It's going to be so great. Anyway, 3-act structure, guys. So here's how it goes. It's going to go Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. But the 3-act structure is actually divided down into several different story points. So let me break them down for you guys. The first story point to note in this structure is called Act 1. Let me break this down, guys. Act 1 is broken into these points. First, you're going to have the balance. So write that down, guys. The balance of the story. What the world is like at the start. So the balance in a story is basically saying, what is the world like at the very beginning of the story? What is the character's life like before the story happens? Because within a story, the character and maybe even the world itself is going to undergo change. So therefore, you have to have a beginning of what is it like before change starts to happen? Who is the character before... Freak you! Hi, Rusty. Welcome in. Can we get a shout out for Rusty Plants, please? Rusty, I'm being a giant story nerd today. But yes, balance is what is the world like at the beginning of the story. In Star Wars, let's take Star Wars as an active example. In Star Wars, the balance is the universe is currently under the control of the Empire. That is the broad balance. And then the main character, Luke Skywalker, it's the balance for him is he is a moisture farmer on Tatooine, living his life and maybe fixing up animatronics. This is where the story starts. This is the beginning of your story. Okay? So that is balance. That's going to be established in Act 1. So in our soup concept, our balance is Sussy Pepper is hungry one day. So Sussy Pepper, actually, let's even start it a little beforehand. Let's say that Pepper is in their house playing VR. Pepper is somebody who loves to be inside playing VR. They don't like to go outside to get food. They like to order in. But one day, maybe like DoorDash or all of their ordering services are down. Their phone has pooped the bed. Their computer does not have access to DoorDash because Windows is like blocking the websites for whatever reason. So Pepper's balance is they normally just stay out inside all day. But then let's say we have our next story point. This is called the inciting incident. So the inciting incident, what starts the story? So this is going to be basically what is it that moves the story towards going forward. So in this case, Digit Cobalt, welcome in, welcome Raiders. Welcome Raiders, my name is Garflin. I'm your host here at the Doggo Chateau. I'm a just chatting variety gaming streamer and a professional screenwriter out in lovely Hollywood today we just got through interviewing the creator of a brand new indie animated pilot, and now I am currently breaking down the idea of story structure for brand new creators who might want to make their own animated concept. But welcome in Fugle, welcome in Digit, welcome in Snowfrost, welcome in everybody. Let me give you a silly little shout out, Digit. Digit, how was your stream? What were you streaming? Snowfrost, why are you gasming upon entrance? Usually people wait until after at least a few minutes before they start gasming in my chat. Just a few. Like, I get it. Obviously, I am a big, sexy dog, and of course, just seeing me for the very first time is probably eliciting that reaction. But contain yourself. Come on, I got a lot of more content for you. If you're gonna start gasming, okay? Okay, but Digit, how was your stream? What were you streaming? It says you were you were streaming art. Digit, do you have art tax? Do you have art tax? Art tax. We need that art tax. Let's see. Good, because we were figuring out how to animate using Moho Animation. My friend Junie uses that. I have that program. I just haven't installed it on my new PC yet. But if you have any art tax, Digit, I would love to see it. If any of our new people would like to join our Discord, feel free to post it in the Your Art channel or send it to me by DMs. I would love to see it. That art that you were showing just now in the clip, absolutely beautiful. But yes, we are talking about story structure now. Actually, let me change our title. A look at story structure. Which, guys, I know my normal content is probably very different than like film and TV production talk. But today I was just feeling in a mood. I was just feeling in a whole mood. Oh, love those emotes. Those are so cute. Anyway, back to our talk. So for those of you just joining us, I was breaking down the idea behind a 3-act narrative structure. In Act 1, we've discussed the plot points known as the balance, which is what the world is like at the beginning of the story, or what the life of the main character is like at the beginning of the story. So let's say in Star Wars, that would be at the beginning of the movie, you have a universe that is under the control of the Empire, and then the life of Anakin, his balance would be he is a moisture farmer. He's a moisture farmer on Tatooine. That is an example of balance. Where does the story start? There better be a VOD of this. I'll absolutely need to look back on this. Bear, welcome on in. And Supreme Femboy, welcome on in. How are you doing? It's so good to see you. Yes, this will be a VOD. Okay, this will be a VOD. Okay. Next up, we have the inciting incident. This all takes place within Act 1 of your story. So the inciting incident is what starts the story. We're currently doing a story using a member of our community here in chat. So the balance of our story is, we have our character, Salted Pepper, one of a long time community members here in chat.
100% top. Yes. Meanwhile, Garflin is 100% pregnant.
Atomic, one day, I'm gonna light the fuse. I'm gonna light the fuse, Atomic. I'm gonna light the fuse. You look out. Anyway, so the start of our story is we have our main character, which, guys, for those of you tuning in, when it comes to story concept creation, the first thing to note is that character is more important than plot and world building. This is something that a lot of new creators get caught up in because they think they have to have a really cool world. It is not necessary to have a cool world, although it helps, as long as your character is strong. And if your world is cool, of the world that you are building, but you don't have a strong character, nobody is gonna want to see your world. So make sure that your character is strong. I don't mean strong like physically, like they are a strong, relatable character before you start like diving too much into world building. Let's see you, Vogel. Have an amazing day. define strong. So, a strong character, there are a lot of different concepts that make up a strong character. Let me break that down too. Hold on, let me open a new tab right quick for strong character. I'm getting off topic, guys. We're gonna have a lot of segues here because I'm just not organized. But as the question comes up, let's see. Let's up that. And I'm gonna put this one in green. Okay. Dark green, so it sets off. Beautiful. Okay. What makes a strong character? Okay. First thing to note when creating a strong character has relatable flaws. You do not get to make a Mary Sue. I repeat, you do not get to make a Mary Sue. Okay? This is where a lot of people who write fan fiction and a lot of furries, they mess up because they want to make a perfect character because they are inserting themselves as a character into the story, and of course they want to show the best, most relatable person, the best version possible. They never want to lose. They never want to have setbacks. They never want to like show their bad sides. Let your characters fail. Don't have them just succeed all the time. Let them mess up. Let them be weak. Let them be interesting. Second, mirror the second. This is important, guys. This is an advanced technique called mirrored traits. So, within a character, mirrored traits means that for every defining characteristic that character has, they have an opposite trait revolving around that characteristic. So let's say just the idea of strong. A character who is all about physical strength, the mirror of that would be they have a type of weakness. It could be they have an emotional weakness or an emotional vulnerability. Say a character is, let's go with a character is so like a monkey's paw of character development. Yes, that is a good example of it. So let's see, a character is brave. So they're out on the battlefield. They're fighting with a sword. They're willing to rush headlong into like an army of goblins. What makes them afraid? Write that out. If the character is beautiful, what makes them ugly? If the character is oh, guys, we have ads in a minute. But if the character is smart, where are they stupid? And it doesn't have to be direct opposites. Like, okay, they're really good at book learning, but they're bad common sense. Like that's an obvious one. But also maybe it's something more nuanced. Like they're really smart with books, but they're stupid and they have trouble seeing their own flaws, or they have trouble seeing their values, or they have trouble seeing or they are really introverted, so they stay inside all the time, but they don't know worlds around them. Play with it. See how you can go beyond the obvious, which also, that can be another thing. Go beyond the obvious. That should go for your story. That should go for your character. That should go with whatever you're working at. Because there are very easy character types. These are called archetypes. They stem all the way back to, let's say, Commedia dell'arte as a form of storytelling, where the characters themselves were divided into tropes, and each trope specifically had to fill a certain role. We still have them today, even though, of course, it's much more nuanced. But still, find ways to go beyond the obvious. If you think you've got an idea for a character and who they are, think twice. Think 3 times. Think, what if they were different? Think all of the, like, just see how you can make them unique in themselves. Also, welcome back from the ads, guys. But anyway, these are just the start of what can make a good character. Also, research. Research is important. A teacher of mine always used to tell me in my screenwriting classes, a writer who loves their work is a writer who does their research. There are even things 3,000 times in the span of a year. No. That is another flaw, okay? Here's something, just general advice. We're going over to this tab. General advice. Do your research and world building, but don't live in your research and world building. This is very, very important, because this is another step where a lot of writers they start to trip and stumble and fall. Because world building is important, but it's not that important. I will repeat that, because that sounds very counterintuitive. Because world building is going to be important. The structure of your world is very important, especially if you're writing a novel or you've got like a really cool concept for a TV show or any of that going on. Like world building important, but some people will get so caught up in world building that they never write the story. Or they'll get so caught up in doing their research or preparing to write the story that they never do it. You're like, oh, I've got this great concept for a sci-fi fantasy. It's going to be a really cool world. It's like, great. How much of it do you have written? None. I've been working on it for 3 years, but I've almost got the world building down. Well, what if my world is structured? What if my world is structured like a cube? I mean, that's cool. What are you going to do with it? Why is your world structured like a cube? Like, know these questions, obviously. Like, know if you think someone's gonna ask you a question about a certain concept in your story, know the answer inherently. This is also, thank you for the hydrate, Cinder. Let me grab my water right quick. It fell down. Okay. Okay. So know how to answer those questions, but once again, have your ideas, have what is necessary for your story, and make sure you write it. This is the #1 rule of writing. This is, hold on guys, most important rule of writing. I'm even gonna make a whole new panel just for this, guys. Okay, #1 rule of writing. Are you ready? Make sure you got your notes ready. Make sure you got your notes ready, guys. The #1 rule of writing is write the dang script. That's right. #1, above all else, write the dang script. Okay, hold on. Let's make it bigger. Okay, we're bigger. This will save you a lot of time in life. Actually write the story. Don't live in your world building. Don't live in your research. Don't live in pre-development. Do your development. Do your due diligence. Actually, take time to properly develop your structure. Do your outline. Do your character development sheets. I'll talk about those later. But actually write the story. Because there are a million amazing stories out there that were never written because they only lived in somebody's head. A bad script on the page is better than an amazing script in your head, okay? And I get it. It's just like art. You see the vision of the art that you want in your head. But you drawing it out, that's where everything gets messy and sloppy. But still, you can fix a bad script on paper, guys. You can fix a bad script on paper. You cannot fix an idea in your head. Because it's just there. It's just in your head. It's not real until you make it real. Okay, we're going to go back to that one. But anyway, back to story structure, guys. This is what we're talking about, guys. Okay. So, back to our story. Can we eat the script afterwards? As long as you have a second copy. Okay, but the 3-act structure, we'll start with our new balance. What is the world like at the start of the story? Inciting incident, what starts the story? So in our story example, Pepper is someone who is addicted to VR. They stay inside and they don't like to go outside to order food. That is our balance. Our inciting incident, one day, all of Pepper's food ordering apps are down. Like the electricity in their apartment went out. They are hungry. Their cell phone has no service because it's dead. That is going to start the story. But here's the difference, guys. No action has been taken yet. No action has been taken. Pepper, like, we have an obstacle that starts the story. This is the introduction of conflict into the story. But where the story actually starts is known as the big event. The big event. So the big event of a story is when the MC, main character, makes a choice. Sorry. When the main character makes a choice that propels them into the story. So in this case, what would be the big event in our story? Pepper opens the door. Pepper makes... Frick you! But hi, Chippy. Welcome in. How's it going? It's so good to see you. Chip, I'm being a massive nerd today. But how are you doing, Chippy? Digital side sent the actual art text through DMs. Oh, frick yeah. Okay. Let me check. Accept DM. Beautiful. Okay. Guys, we're going to take a small break just so I can show you this art text, guys. Guys, look at this art text that Digital Cobalt did. Look at this amazing art text. This looks so cool. I love the colors that you're working with. I can see your style. It almost is reminiscent of sort of like a Mobian Sonic style, which is really cool. I can see the moho because I know moho deals with a lot of, is it raster-based imaging is the term? Because you're like moving the lines rather than, you're creating a shape and then you are manipulating the lines to get the shapes that you want rather than like actually drawing in the lines. But it looks really, really cool. Vector-based. Okay, I always get vector and raster confused. Thank you. I can never keep the terms right. My digital media classes were like forever ago. But yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. Go check out Digital Cobalt. They were really cool. See, but yes. So, Chippy, yes, I am a massive nerd, but I am specifically talking about story structure, which you know that I am a big nerd when it comes to story structure. But okay. So we ball. So the big event. This is our third story point. This usually marks the end of Act 2. The end of Act 1. Because this is where it starts, guys. This is where it's gonna start. Okay. Okay, so after the big event, then we're going to go on to Act 2. So Act 2 is actually the hardest act for any writer because it's easy to know how a story starts. It is easy to know how a story ends. Like, we all have like those ideas in our head of like, okay, I've got this really big idea for a story. Hi, Court Event, welcome on in. We always have this big idea of like, okay, the story starts here. I've got a main character and they're going to be fighting all of these things and it's going to be so cool. And then we have, okay, and they're going to be a big climax and they're going to fight the villain. What happens between the two acts? What actually happens between the beginning of the story and the end of the story? There's a big place, they call it the desert of Act 2, which is especially in movies, because I specialize in film writing. But still, what is going to happen to get the character from the beginning, which you thought was super cool, to the end, which you thought was super cool? And how do you make sure every single thing within that second act is cool and exciting or funny or interesting in some way? I know some people will call that, hold on, let me move on. Act 2, that term is rising action. This is leading us up to the middle. So Act 2 is kind of divided into two parts. Act 2 Part 1 and Act 2 Part 2. Rising action is all the actions leading to the midpoint crisis. This is where your character starts to encounter their initial obstacles to whatever they're going to be like facing. So let's say in this case, Pepper is decided in the big event to leave their house. Their struggles might encompass, okay, they got to find a place that they want to go. They got to find some place nearby to eat. They don't want to be on out of their house for too long. So let's say they go with the place that is the closest to their apartment. That is going to be their soup store, which is going to be where our action takes place. So they've already transitioned into, okay, I'm outside. There's the sun. I don't like the sun. I don't like all these people. The streets are crowded. I don't like dealing with all these people outside. I don't have my phone. I have to deal with like all these IRL interactions. Somebody bumps Pepper. Pepper doesn't know how to deal with that. Our character, one of their traits is they are amazing online, but maybe they struggle out in the real world. They are a big extrovert in the internet, but maybe IRL, they have trouble dealing with like all that stimuli. I go flying if someone bumped me. See, that's a good example. A well-rounded character, and they're relatable because they are struggling. I hear soup store. Why are you buying clothes at the soup store? Yes, that is the reference. Also, hi Arctic Champion. Welcome on in. And Pepe the Servant. Welcome on in. So good to see you. How are you doing? Okay. So this is Pepper. Pepper has struggled. They have battled across the streets. We are turning basically what is a simple interaction into a big deal. And we want to make sure that our character feels this. We want to make sure the character feels like this is a big deal because we relate. Because let's say in this case, Pepper's got a bit of anxiety. We can, excuse me, this is a hi Superstar, welcome in. Pepper's got anxiety in dealing with the outside world, and we are starting to witness their struggles. We are seeing the flaws of our character coming to life in this moment as they just struggle to get down the street and get to the superstore. So we've got Pepper, they're fighting through the entirety of the street. They've gone through the crowds, they've dealt with people. People are disgusting. There's like a guy picking his nose. Pepper's like, that's gross. There's there's somebody who's like trying to chat with Pepper, like just out of nowhere, like they're trying to have like a full-blown conversation with Pepper, and Pepper doesn't want to deal with that. Doesn't want to talk to this random person. Like there's a big yapper. Another one, like Pepper steps on some guy's shoe, and then they like are offended at first, and then they try to hit on Pepper. And Pepper's like, oh, gross, 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 gross. Hi, Sunny. Welcome back. I know you are very invested in my story analysis speech. Sunny is also a writer, so I know whenever I'm talking story, Sunny's going to be glued. But okay. So we got our rising action. Then we get, yes, we have some in Soup Store. They're already there. They made the face. Okay. But then eventually, after having battled down the streets, trying to find the nearest place because they just want food, they find it. They find our soup store. Just one store. So they get to the store. Inside the store is, let's say, it's really, really crowded in that soup store. Like, this is good soup. This is good frickin' soup. We got Soup Store in chat. Let's say Soup Store in chat. They're the person running the Soup Store. So Soup Store is Soup Store. Weird name for us. Weird name for an eating establishment. But yeah, so all of these are crises that lead up to something called the midpoint crisis. So the midpoint crisis, this is where everything sort of shifts. This is where the stakes are raised. This is where the main character, oftentimes they actually become committed to the actual, the actual goal of the story. So in that case, let's say, what would be a good example of this? Let's say, so midpoint crisis is almost exactly 50% through the way of your story. So let's say they get to this soup store, it's really crowded. Let's say Pepper goes inside, they see it's really crowded, they want to turn around, they don't want to be here anymore, but then the scent of the soup sort of wafts into their nose. Like the scent of the soup sort of wafts into their nose, and they know this is the best soup in the world. They see other people eating it, and it is orgasmic level goods. Like they're about to turn around because they don't want to deal with like all these crowds and all of this tension. But they suddenly find that this is maybe the most amazing soup in the world. And then, let's say there's a promotion, 80% off tomato soup. Yeah, okay, we'll throw that as... We'll even throw that up as, like, a challenge that comes. Like, in the same moment, in the midpoint crisis, they are recommitted. So even though the line is long, the line, like, shortens, and Pepper starts to get into that. So, let's see, midpoint crisis, when the MC fully commits to the goal, and or when everything changes in an inescapable way. Borb, welcome on in. How's it doing? It's so good to see you, Borby. Thank you so much. And Jamion, welcome on in. How are you doing? And Pidrev, welcome on in. How are you doing? It's so good to see you. Okay. So your midpoint crisis. So in this case, Pepper is locked in. Despite the crowds, Pepper wants that soup. They want that soup so bad. They are waiting in line. They are dealing with the struggles. People are trying to talk them in line, but they are enduring through it all because they are firmly locked in on that soup. Another example of a midpoint crisis. What's a good example? Let's say in Star Wars, when the main character's journey is, let's say the main character's journey in Star Wars is they are basically escorting Princess Leia to whatever Princess Leia's main planet is called. I forget what it's called. But they're escorting the main Princess Leia to her home planet of Coruscant. But then everything changes because that planet gets blown the frick up. Well, darn. Now, what are they going to do? Their whole original goal has changed in some profound way. So now they have to either change their goal, like they can, or they have to pursue a new goal. So that's an example of a midpoint crisis. Some of that's blending into the Dark Night of the Soul, which will come later. There's another name for it. I forget it right off the top of my head. I'll think of it. But anyway. The crisis, the actual crisis, I think. I'll remember it. I'll remember it. But anyway. So in this case, Pepper is really freaking locked in. They're gonna go through the soup. They're gonna get that soup. It's gonna be amazing. But then guys, then what we're going to get to is the crisis. So this is when everything goes wrong. This is the crisis. This is when the main character is maybe on the verge of victory, the verge of getting there. Like Pepper is almost to the front of the line. Pepper can smell that soup. Pepper wants that soup, and they are so close to the front of the line. But then the crisis happens. Something that could never be expected. The crisis is when the main character loses. The main character must lose in some way. So in this case, in our story, let's use Digital Kobold's idea. The crisis. Pepper is almost to the front of the line, but then suddenly, Soup Store, the owner of the soup store, plops down a sign, and that sign says, tomato soup, 80% off. And suddenly the whole store goes wild. People turn their heads like zombies. You know that image of like someone turns on a flashlight in the woods and there are 10,000 like deer eyes staring back and they're reflecting the light and they are staring. So the sign comes down, the whole store is locked in, and suddenly the people of the store, they are rushing. They are rushing the counter. The line no longer exists. It is a tidal wave of people. This is Pepper's worst nightmare. Pepper, who is used to the safety of VR, is now in a room of absolute chaos. People are shoving each other. People no longer care about the line. This is like a tidal wave of IRL people, all of their issues, all of their flaws, all of the things that make dealing with people IRL disgusting are happening all around them. There is noise and it is loud and there is no button to mute the world right now. They are being shoved. People are vicious. And after all of that, let's see. So crisis, everything goes wrong. MC loses. So the MC has lost. And after the big giant tidal wave of people, Pepin,
Garf, I see you're writing a screenplay. Why do you not have a typewriter?
Okay, I am. Listen, I do need to install Final Draft on my new PC. I need to do that, but I am using this because it's more colorful. But anyway, so after all of that, Pepper is out after riding the tidal wave of horrible people. They are thrown to the ground at the very back of the store, right next to the door. So Pepper is on the ground, and they are looking up, and there is this swarm of people directly in front of them. And they are vicious, and Pepper is small. Pepper is a sweet little bean who doesn't like dealing with IRL people, and their soup is there. They are next to the door. They are on the verge of giving up. This is a plot point, a very important plot point, mind you. This is called the escape clause. It comes usually around the crisis, but the escape clause is the MC is given a choice to leave the story. This is something that's almost 100% necessary. So remember this, guys, because the MC has to make a choice here. This is, let's say, an example. Anakin Skywalker is taking Princess Leia to Coruscant. Coruscant has been blown up. In this case, Anakin can either go back home. He can leave. His job is done. He can just take the ship back to Tatooine and go back to being a moisture farmer. Or he can see this and decide, I hate the Empire. I'm not going to let them get away with this, and I'm going to keep fighting the Empire, even though my only job originally was getting a lady from point A to point B. In this case, Pepper is given a choice. Yes, I'm merging trilogies. I know, I'm bad at Star Wars. I suck at Star Wars, okay? I can't remember them for the life of me, but I'm giving examples. But yeah, so Pepper is giving a choice. Pepper is next to the door. The door is right beside Pepper. Pepper is beaten up. They are bruised. They are hungry. They don't have the phone. There are a bunch of people in front of them. Getting that soup would be hard, but leaving would be easy. It would be so easy right now if Pepper just opened that door, left the store, went back to their apartment, and stayed inside and just waited for the electricity to come on. It would be so easy for Pepper to do that right now. But this is where Pepper makes a choice. Pepper is not going to give up. Pepper is going to get that soup. This is our lock-in moment. Because Pepper decided, I am not going to be pushed around. I am not going to let the IRL world control me. I am not going to be scared of this world as it exists. No. I am going to fight. I am going to be strong, and I am going to get that freaking soup, and IRL disgusting people be darned. So here we got and now Pepper, you're locked in, Pepper. You're so locked in. Ain't nobody gonna bully Pepper. Ain't nobody gonna bully Pepper in our house. No. So Pepper has made their choice. They are going after that soup. So this is where what we call, so that is the end of Act 2. So now we're moving on to, I might need to start a new document for this actually, because we're getting kind of thick, guys. Let me, thick and juicy. We're too thick and juicy. We're so thick and juicy. Let me copy that. Pop that there. Put that there. Okay. There we go. Okay. This is gonna be, okay. We are in Act 3 now. This is the final act of your story. So Act 1 had the balance, inciting incident, and big event. Act 2 Part 1 was the rising action to our midpoint crisis. Act 2 Part 2 is our midpoint crisis to our climax. And then Act 3 is going to start with the climax. The climax is the final showdown. It is time to lock the frick in, guys. It is time for Pepper to fight for their soup. So Pepper sees this crowd, and they are not going to be cowed. So Pepper gets up, their hoodie is torn, their clothes are dirty, they roll up their sleeve, and they decide they are going to get to that soup. So Pepper dives into the crowd. Pepper jumps on top of their heads. Pepper may be small, but Pepper is wiry, and they are not going to lose. Who's climaxing? Okay, listen, not like that. But yeah. So Pepper is crawling over their heads. Pepper is being shoved, but it's like someone who Pepper is on top of someone's head. Some guy looks up and they're offended at Pepper. Pepper looks back and stares them down. Pepper looks them in the eye and says, "No, I am here," and they are cowed before Pepper. See, this is where you showcase your character's growth, because it must showcase how your character has changed from beginning to end. How are they different? At the beginning, our balance. Pepper started off small, meek, and scared of the outside world. Now Pepper is taking his place. Pepper is deciding, I own this world. I am going to be strong in this world. I belong in this world, and nobody's going to tell me that I don't belong here. It's just frick you, Thanos. So Pepper is climbing across these heads. They are weaving through it. They are getting closer to that soup. And then, let's not keep it simple, guys. Let's add in a final twist, because this is the ultimate battle, and it's got to be interesting. There has to be something here to keep it interesting. Let's say Pepper doesn't just fighting back like an alligator despite being small as a chihuahua. Exactly, Digit. Exactly. So let's say in the middle of our climax, let's say to show how Pepper has really grown. Let's take it a step further. It's not just Pepper gets to the counter and gets soup. No. Pepper is battling across all these heads, and then they see it. they see Soup Store at the counter, you know, Soup Store, the actual person, at the counter. They are overworked. They are stressed. They are flailing under all of the like orders that they're getting in. They can't keep up. They see the Soup Store being pushed around. And in that moment, Pepper sees not only Soup Store being pushed around, but they see a reflection of themselves. They see a reflection of what they were like just when they started being pushed around in Soup Store. So this is no longer just about Pepper getting his soup. This is about Pepper deciding to stand up. So Pepper gets to the counter. Pepper, instead of grabbing their soup, and they look down at Soup Store while standing on top of the counter, they turn back at the crowd and they scream and they yell in this crowd's face and tell them that they need to shut the frick up. And the store goes silent. And Pepper tells them that they are going to get in line right fricking now. Pepper demands that they get in line. And they listen because Pepper is no longer being pushed around. Pepper is now authority. Pepper is no longer fighting against a world. They are not cowing before the world trying to overcome them. They are not fighting against the world. They are owning their place in this world, and they are defending somebody else who is being pushed around just like them. So they take control. And in that moment, by doing so, we see how Pepper has changed. We see how Pepper is different. Not just like a slave to the world, but a master in the world. And hi, Taco. Welcome on in. How's it going? Pepper is now a Dom. Yes. Pepper is now Dom. So Pepper gets them all in line. Pepper takes their rightful place at the front of that line.
So I
Pepper
believe
has
you.
saved Soup Store, who was being bullied by that line, and in doing so, Pepper has made a new friend. Pepper has made a connection. Pepper has made a relationship. And that is emotionally satisfying. See, this is what we want to go for. We want to go for showing big changes in dramatic ways that are meaningful, that speak to us. So guys, when you're writing your climax of your story, really think, what is the biggest way that I can show this character has changed? I'm doing great, just a bit exhausted. I hope you feel better, Taco Wolf. Guys, go check out Taco Wolf. They're an awesome streamer. But yes. So we have our climax, and that will bring us to Pepper has gotten their soup. They are taking their soup away. They have it in their bowl, but they do not kiss. Freak you. This is not a romance. Freak you. That is an option that you could do if you wanted to get really big and gay on it. But Pepper is an IRL person, and I don't know how comfortable I feel like shipping them. But friend shipping I can do. But anyway. So they've got their soup. They walk out the store. And then let's say maybe in kiss this. Oh, you know, they could kiss the soup. That's actually funny. Okay, but that will bring us to our falling action. What is the world like immediately after our big battle? So we've got our big battle. Pepper's got their soup. They go home. Let's say, so I'll write this down. What happens after the climax? Okay. So we've got what happens after the climax. So Pepper takes their soup home. They finally get their soup inside. And then, this is going to lead up to something important, guys. They get the soup inside, but as they get inside through the door, the power comes back on. The power comes back on, guys. The power comes back on. All their devices are working. They immediately put their phone on charge. They've got their soup in hand, and they're getting ready to eat their soup. They trip on their VR controller. Hi, Osriel Dreamer. Welcome on in. How's it going? Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Love your profile picture. Question of the day, what's your dessert? Howdy, Unc. Would you like some friendliness pellets? Absolutely. But okay, guys. No. Hear me out on this. Hear me out. I'm not just taking away Pepper's soup, guys. I am not just taking away Pepper's hard-earned soup, okay? Okay? Azriel, welcome in. We are discussing story structure. But okay, so I'm not just taking away Pepper's soup. So Pepper trips on their VR controller and they spill the soup. The soup is on the floor. The soup is gone. The soup that they fought so hard for is lost. So what are they gonna do, guys? I'm not a monster. Listen, there's a point to this. There's a point. Hi again, Supreme Pinboy. Welcome back in. There is a point. There is a point to this, okay, guys? So they trip. The soup is gone. They've lost what they fought for. But here's the new moment they were working on, guys. Here's what we're building up to as a story point. It is a point called the new balance. So this is very important, guys. The new balance. This is what the story is like. Sorry, what the world is like after the story. How has the world changed since the beginning? So here's why I did that, guys. Pepper is back in their apartment. The power is back on. Their computers are working. DoorDash is active again. And now Pepper is given a choice. They have the choice to use their phone and order DoorDash again. They can go back to being who they were before. They can go back to just staying inside, using their phone to order DoorDash. They can just DoorDash soup right from that store, guys. Maybe even the app pops open for them the moment their phone like turns on. And it's like right there, and saying they got, it's like easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, just click a button. But here's why we will use the new balance, because in that moment when Pepper is given the choice to use DoorDash to get their food again, they decide not to. Instead, Pepper decides to grab their keys. They're gonna leave their apartment as they look out the window and they see the soup store they just went to right outside. And they're going to go and in person get their soup. Because this is what how Pepper has changed. They are no longer afraid of the outside world. They are no longer just wanting to stay inside. They have grown as a character. They have grown as a person. And this is how we show that. Because the new balance must always show how the world has changed. So they just grab their keys, they head out the store, and they head straight back to Soup Store to get their IRL soup themselves. And that is where we are going to cut to black. So see, guys, that is an example of using 3-act story structure. We did it, guys. Let's go! So, guys, what did our story have, guys? What did we learn? We have our Act 1, our balance. Pepper is an inside VR gremlin who never likes to go outside. Inciting incident, there's no power. They have no other choice but to go outside. Big event, they leave their house and they have to go outside to get foods. There we go. Act 2, rising action. All the action lead up to midpoint. Pepper encounters obstacles and conflicts. Midpoint crisis. Pepper fully commits to their goal. They could they say the soup, they are locked in, they are getting that soup. Crisis, everything goes wrong. Pepper loses, they are shoved back, they are faced with their worst fears in a bad world. And they have the choice in the escape clause to leave it or fight it. Then this is Act 3. They chose to fight. They have the big final showdown with the shop. They show all the ways that they have changed. They show that they are no longer, that inside VR, they will no longer be pushed around by the world. And they dominate. Falling action, the world after, leading to the very end. And then our new balance, showcasing how the world has changed. Pepper is no longer cowed by the outside. Instead, Pepper owns it. So there you go, guys. This is the fundamental of story structure. Let's go. Screenshot it. Oh, yeah. Feel free to take screenshots, guys. Once again, if you have any more questions about story structure, our Discord is right there. I am always available to talk about story. I am a massive story nerd. I do this professionally. I've been paid to write. And I will gladly, I'm always down to help on new projects. Also, Bagel, welcome on in. What about 4 acts? So 4-act structure is basically just a name for 3-act structure, except it takes act 2, which in 3-act structure is divided into Act 2 Part 1 and Act 2 Part 2, and it just breaks them down instead into 4 separate acts. There's not much structurally that's different between a 4-act structure and a 3-act structure. A lot of it is just kind of based in the name, because 3-act structure is really just 4-act structure.
You're actually
but
done.
wearing a
You're
hat,
done.
like a fancy hat, because people like the number 3 better than 4.
No, you know what?
Because think
This
about it,
is
guys.
done.
Anytime
This
you've
is
got a
done.
trio of something, people are more attracted. Get me off the screen. No, too bad. Get shouted out, Bagel. Gosh, we love Bagel. So guys, when you are developing your indie comic, when you are developing your indie animation, when you're having an idea for a pilot, remember what we talked about today, guys. Just at the beginning, there's a lot more I could talk about, but here's what we're talking about to start. So, 1, nail down your concept. Script is king, so always start with your story. Do your research. Sorry, let's see. So we'll put that as do your research and early development research. Okay. Remember to build your characters. Look at the 3-act structure, especially from beginners, guys. Especially for beginners. Because if you're just starting out and you don't know how to make a story, use these plot points that we talked about as your basis. Of course, the more experience you get, the more you can fiddle around with structure, the more you can try new things. These rules are made to be broken, but don't break them until you have mastered them. I will say that again. Rules are meant to be broken, but do not break them until you have mastered them. Know the learn the rules, love the rules, embrace the rules, break the rules. Okay? You got that? You got that? You got that? I will break every rule. That is good, Borb. Be creative. Mix it up, but make sure you have your fundamentals down. I want to make one about a pampered animal going into the wild due to legal reasons. Digi, I love, if those reasons are what I think about, I love that specific genre very, very much. But that still has the potential for using our 3-act structure. Because basically what you have going on is similar to what we have here, because our main character here was an introvert who stayed inside. Oh, this is all about writing rules. Never mind. Ayo. Let's see. OMG, can you break my rules too? Ayo. Ayo. Embrace the rules. A hot, sweaty embrace with the rules. Yes. Remember, see, the rules are that one guy that you go back to for a good frick every so often, but you don't stay with them. Like, they remind you what good fricking is, but like this is just kind of like your practice frick for your real fricks. Actually, that's a terrible analogy. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking I was going somewhere, but there's a lot of nuance in there that's just wrong. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, Digit, this can be you very easily. Take your main character who's a pampered animal. Start of the balance, they're living the pantsured life. Inciting incident, some reason they get thrust into the wild or drawn into the wild. Something tempts them. Basically, big event, they go into the wild. Rising action, they have struggles in the wild. Midpoint crisis, they lock into why they want to stay in the wild or why this journey is worth it. The crisis, something happens where they want to turn back their escape clause. They want to go back to, let's say, their pampered life. They miss their pampered life. Something about it draws them back. They have the choice to leave, but then that breaks you over into Act 3, which is where you have your final showdown, the big climax of whatever you're doing, something where they face their fears and do the thing. Then what happens after the thing, and then having how they have changed and how the world has changed since then. Like, a lot of this fits into that. And by the way, if you're thinking of writing NSFW, this also still works. And it works very, very well. So just in case Digit, legal reasons involved NSFW writing, the same format can still apply, and it can be very satisfying. Hey, what's up, Garflin chat? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. I'll be hanging out and lurking. You all have fun. Take care. See you, Turbo Ice Husky. Thank you so much for stopping in. Hearts, 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 hearts. A personal trader except for the bedroom. Exactly, Pepper. Exactly. But yeah, any questions, guys? Any questions? Oh, and the ultimate rule, guys. Write the dang script. Wait, that's not what I was thinking about. Okay, Digit. I was thinking about animal labor. Oh. Okay, Digit. Okay. Sometimes when people say legal reasons here, it means something else. But okay, animal labor? Yeah, okay. If it's that kind of stuff, yes, that can absolutely fit into the story structure as well. But yeah, any questions, guys? Final questions on story structure. Any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, any other things, guys? I want to make sure everybody... And once again, there will be a VOD of this if you want to look back on it. And I will be open to questions. Once again, if you're not part of our Discord, there is our Discord right there. Also, once again, guys, we are still promoting our lovely friend Jesse J. Jones. Sorry, not Jesse J. Jones. Jabluby, who is doing. How do we set up a story for the sequel? Okay, that is a big thing. One, do not write. I swear to God, if you do this, I will kill you. I swear to God. But do not write a story only thinking about the sequel. Hi, Oxbakita, welcome on in. How's it going? We're doing a lesson on story structure. But okay, do not write your story thinking about the sequel. It should always be your number one focus. Sorry, your number one focus when writing a story should be on making the story that you are telling right then and there as best it can possibly be. If a sequel happens, a sequel happens, okay? Leave room for it. Like, sometimes you can have an open possibility that a sequel could be something. Like, you don't close off all the loose ends, or you, there's, like, wiggle room. Like, you don't tie maybe everything nicely up with a bow, so it seems like if you're coming back, you're opening a box that you already wrapped. Like, sometimes you can use a technique called distant mountaining. Which distant mountaining within a script or any kind of story, whether it's a novel or something else, distant mountaining means when you talk about something or you talk about something or show something the character sees, but they never get to interact with. This is the cool thing for like showing that your world is expansive. The way it works is, let's say Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings will have a character go, "Oh yes, I remember back when I partied at the city of Smogenragen." And it never like elaborates on what the city of Smogenragen is or that story. That is called distant mountaining. It shows that the world is bigger than the narrative that you're working within. That way, if in the future you want a sequel, you already have a hook for like Schmogenragen that someone was interested in. Or in our case with our Pepper story that we were just working with, like Pepper isn't like cut off from finishing. Like, Pepper is just starting to explore a new world. Pepper is just starting to get outside of their comfort zone. That is already the beginning of an adventure. You can obviously have a sequel where Pepper, who is newly discovering what it's like to live outside the VR world, is exploring the VR world. Or maybe even, like, say, Pepper is exploring the outside world, but people in the VR world are trying to drag Pepper back because they miss them. And there's a conflict there because Pepper is torn between now their new life in the IRL world and their VR world friends. And every part of the world wants, and they want to see the outside world, but they don't want to lose their VR friends. But they love VR, but they don't want to, like, and they don't want to leave that behind. That's a whole struggle. Sorry, I got choked for a second. But all of these are possibilities if you want to leave room for a sequel. But once again, the quality of the first thing you are producing should always be paramount. Are there any rules for recalling past events in the story, like flashbacks to an event that happened prior to the story? Yes. So if you are using flashbacks, they must be useful and they must move the story along in some way. Do not just flashback for exposition. That is called bad writing. You see, one of the biggest things in writing that tells the quality of a script or project is how you handle exposition. How do you handle getting out that info? Like if there's a point in a character's backstory that's really, really important, how do you handle that besides just saying it outright? Like, how is it nuanced? How is it built into action moving forward? An example of kind of bad exposition. Also, hi White Nova, welcome on in. How are you doing? It's so good to see you. We are doing a lesson on story structure. Let me give you a shout out, White Nova. But yes. So, Star Wars actually is kind of bad. They're a bad example of how to handle exposition because they just do that text crawl that's just basically a giant chunk of exposition. They get away with it because they're Star Wars. Nobody else gets to get away with that. You do not get to have a big block of text. You cannot have a character just come out and say, oh yes, I'm adventuring because when I was 3 years old, my family was attacked by goblins. This led me to meeting my mentor who was... Frick you. If you do that, frick you in the face. Frick you. No. Exposition, flashbacks, recalling past events should be woven organically. They shouldn't come up until they need to come up, until the reveal of them actually affects the story. And if you're going to do it at the beginning, like, you know, like a quick flashback at the beginning that's like basically the setup, make it interesting. For instance, what if the flashback is interesting? 1, make it interesting. 2, make it quick. 3, make it visual. Big rules here too. If you've got like something at the beginning, let's say let's take our example. The character's family was attacked by goblins when they're little. In 1, don't have it as a flashback unless it's going to directly feed into what happens next in the story. Because if the next scene is not him, the main character, like, battling a bunch of goblins with a look of absolute revenge on their face, you don't need it right then. Also, hi Sparky, welcome on in. How's it going? I big stinky exposition dump. I swear to God, if you exposition dump, I will personally twist your testicles. Okay. That should be rule number 6. Do not exposition dump. Handle exposition with care. Okay. So yeah, also, there's specific formatting in screenwriting for exposition. For flashbacks. So generally, there is a program. If you're going to start screenwriting, there is a program called Final Draft, which let me see if I can link that in chat, because this is a program that like 90% of Hollywood uses for screenwriting. If you're going to be novel writing, that's very different. You can just use like Microsoft Word or Open Office. If you're going to be screenwriting for, let's say, an animated short, or let's say, or anything like that, that's going to require like special formatting or actors to read dialogue, this is when you would use Final Draft as your writing tool. So I will link that in chat. Okay, guys. So Final Draft screenwriting software. Okay. Ooh, that is a terrible link, actually. Hold on. Let me see if I get a better link. Let's see. That's just screenwriting software. There we go. Wop-a-bop. Hi, Pippi. Welcome on in. Pippi. We are doing a lesson on story structure. Okay. I will alter that. Take that down. 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 There we go. Final Draft screenwriting software. So if you are interested in script writing, which I could always do another presentation on script writing and script writing formatting and how and the parts involved in writing a script some other day. Which guys, hold on. Screenwriting format. So guys, for those of you who've never seen screenwriting format before, this is an example of screenwriting format. This is how a script is normally formatted. This is to make it easy for the people who are doing the production of a project, as well as to make it easy for the actors who are doing lines. It also tends to help animators. Also, let me give you a shout out, Pippi, because we love our Pippi. So you can see how this is very, very different from how a normal, what you think of a book would be broken down as. So the way that scripts are divided is they are divided into scenes. For instance, the interior Mort's Kitchen day, that is known as a slug line. Slug lines tell you the location and time of day if you are reading a script. This helps animators and production people know what it needs to look like. If it's live action, they need to know what the set dressing is going to be or the set is going to be. Production people know in this scene, in case, that they need to have a kitchen ready. Animators need to know that they need to draw a kitchen and that it needs to be during daytime for lighting. So that's called a slug line. That's location and time. This right here, this is called an action line. An action line is basically how the action that is going on in the scene. What are the characters doing? What happens? What's happening in the scene? It is not for emotions. Remember, guys, books, you can tell what a character is feeling. Screenwriting, this is the language of images. Everything that you write has to be something that the audience can visually see going on. So if you want a character to be sad, you can't just write, and Darla was sad. No. You have to show it. The ultimate rule of writing is show, don't tell. Remember that. Show, don't tell. So if you want to show Darla's sad, have Darla have a tear in her eye. Show Darla moping. Show them slouching. It's all physical. So remember, never put something the audience cannot see into an action line. But yeah, this is an action line. This is called a character line. This tells you who is speaking. So here you see Mort is speaking. Here you see Becky is speaking. So fancy words. Sorry, I do this professionally, Pippi. Today we were promoting a big indie animated concept, and that got me into talking about what people might need to know when producing their own indie animated work, or their own webcomic, or their own novel and stuff. Yes, this is a permanent license for Final Draft. Once you have Final Draft installed on a computer, it can only be to one device. But once you have Final Draft installed, you keep that forever. And if you need to go to a new device, usually you can use the same login that goes with that specific device. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. To get a discount moving forward. So you pay for the initial first buy, and then you can use that email to get it at a discount moving forward. So fancy word, me scoot over here. Pippi, stop freaking scooting on my carpets. Also, hi, Brave. Welcome on in. How's it going? Brave, I feel that you would really get a lot out of this because I know you're producing an animation. And we've been talking about story structure. Okay. But yes, so this is your character line right here. Let me see. Do I have that captured? Yeah. Okay, next up, dialogue line. Whoop. Should not have clicked that. I should not have clicked that. I should not have clicked that. Go away. Okay. So this is called... Oh, guys, we are in ads right quick. We are in ads, so... Guys, we are in ads. This is the ad song. We are in ads. This is the ad song. There are 4 seconds left of ads. We are in ads. This is the ad song. Okay, welcome back from ads, guys. Okay, but this is called a dialogue line. This is what's being said by that character. Okay? So these are going to be their most important parts to know when you're breaking down a script and using screenwriting format. That's why there's a whole software devoted to helping you get this format correct. It's easy for production, easy for actors, easy for everyone down the pipeline. Let's see, when trying to show emotion or imagery, are there any rules of thumb or rules of paw for knowing when you're using too much figurative language and too little figurative language? Okay. So, so this is going to go down to what are you trying to produce? So here's how it works. Language and word rhythm are 2 very important skills that a professional writer needs to master. The words that are being said is like here. Mort chops carrots at the counter. Becky leans against the fridge and fiddles with a Rubik's Cube. That is, in screenwriting, you want that to be like quick and concise. A lot of writers want you to use as little words as possible, sometimes even abbreviations, because you got a lot of page space. You don't have a lot of page space. The unique thing about screenwriting versus book writing is there is almost a hard limit with screenwriting based on the format of how many pages you can have. So that's why you want to like limit what you do with language to only be necessary for either tone or action going on. In screenwriting, you want to make sure it's quick and concise with a lot of it, because generally the formatting rules are, if you are writing a 11-minute animated short, generally you want to go between 15 and 17 pages. If you are writing a 30-minute show, that can be anywhere from 22 to 32, depending on the format of the show. But you can't really go over those limits. And then if you're writing a screenplay for like a movie, that is between 90 and 120 pages. Some animated movies will go less than that because they have a little more visuals to back them up. Usually, though, that's only if the studio itself is behind that. So generally try to aim around that 90 sweet spot, 120 if it's a little longer. Generally between 90 to 110, 105 will probably be your sweet spot for studios kind of looking at you with like a big nod. Also, hi Love Train, welcome on in. How's it going? But yeah. But yes, if you're writing a book, however, then you want your language to give atmosphere. You want your language to give feeling. So that's going to be determined. That's what goes back to what we talked about word rhythm, and like the music behind words. So in a book, the way you use words and all, the way that you use words, the flow of the words and the sentences create an atmosphere and a tone that you want to use to invoke your writer in. Use that to your advantage. If you're writing a flowery romance piece in a book, then yes, absolutely talk about how beautiful the dress is and how the cherry trees and wisterias blossomed and blah, 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 blah. But don't get too off point, otherwise you'll lose the story. Everything should serve a purpose, guys. If it doesn't serve a purpose, cut it out of your script. However, if you're writing a screenplay, just quickly write in the visuals. Hi, Sky. Welcome in. How are you doing, sweetie? It's so good to see you, my beloved Sky. So let's see. So about 1 page for every 15 to 45 seconds, depending on what you're writing. Absolutely, yes. So it can vary, but because there can also be quick scenes. So let's say you've got a scene where you're trying to portray a very slow, sad moment. Your sentences will be longer because you want the emotion to linger longer. You wouldn't just say, and she cried. No, 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 no. You wouldn't just do that. That's kind of boring. Instead, you would say, Jesse weeps next to the counter. You might even, in this case, for big emotional moments, you only get a few of these per script. But you might say, Jesse weeps at the counter. Liquid regret falling from her eyes. Something very quick, but still very emotionally impactful. Or if the scene is very slow and tense, draw out your sentences like, sky creeps down the hallway, the shadows looming all around them, the sound of chittering ringing through the air. See, that is called sentence rhythm. You elongate the sentence to provide atmosphere. However, if you have an action scene, that would be like, Nazcat dashes down the street, flips off a building, lands on the other side. The villain is at 2 o'clock. Nazcat aims their Nazcat gun. Target locked, fires. You see, just by how the sentence rhythm is, by how quick or slow you use your sentences, you can portray an entire tone very differently. This is something that they don't teach you a lot in like writing classes, the idea and concept behind sentence rhythm. Because it's very complex and it's very hard to master. It's a skill that almost uses your ear for music in a way. Like, obviously, a pop song and a slow ballad are very different. Sentence rhythm is very much the same. A slow scene, a scary scene, or an action-packed scene will sound differently when you're reading it off than, should sound differently when you're reading it off than, say, another type of scene. Does all that clear, guys? Is all that clear? Let me know. I tend to ramble and I go up on a couple tangents. So let me know if that kind of concept is clear. Also, Love Train, how are you doing? Sky, how are you doing? It's so good to see you guys. Okay, guys. Any more questions about story structure, about rhythm, about 3-act structure, about like if you are getting ready to try to produce your own webcomic or novel or anything like that? Once again, I do this professionally. Hi, Cyberzane. Welcome on in. How's it going? It's so good to see you. Okay. So, any final questions on story structure or anything you might want to know before producing your webcomic or any of that? Okay. Okay. We're all good? We're all good? We're all good? Yeah. 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 Okay. But, yeah, see, we're thinking. But, yeah. So, guys, we have covered a lot today. Let's see. Garflin has verbal diarrhea explaining the writing process. Doing okay. Currently have a foster cat in my lap. Oh, that is so cute, Cyber. Oh my gosh. That is so sweet. Okay. But yeah, if nobody has any more questions, then I will round this off by, do you keep VODs up? I think I know someone who might need this. Oh, absolutely. I keep VODs up, and I do, so I don't post there as often as I should, but I will put this into a VOD on YouTube, because I actually do have a YouTube channel. I think my YouTube, which I don't usually talk about because it's just for storing VODs, but Garflin YouTube. There we go. There is my Garflin YouTube. So if you'd like to follow YouTube, you can catch all of my VODs. Spaghetti Eater, I guess. Welcome on in. Digital Cobalt, thank you for the follow. Thank you. No homework. Your homework. Actually, guys, if you want any homework, guys, my teacher side is coming out. Oh my gosh, guys, did I really just be like go full teacher this entire stream? Oh my gosh, I did that. Welcome in, Spaghetti, guys. We have just had a lesson on story writing. No, #1 Uwu Ball fan. Okay. But there is my YouTube. I promise I'll make this into a VOD. But guys, since we are getting ready to, yeah, it seems you have. Listen, I am a giant story nerd, okay? I am a super giant story nerd, and I will talk all about it. But for now, let's end this off on something a little fun. Because today we were, for those of you who were late, those of you who were just late, today we started this show promoting a brand new animated pilot coming out by Plasma Studios. And since we are about to end, I'm going to plug that one more time. I am going to plug that one more time. So you guys can take a look at this brand new animated pilot. Let me shrink that back down to size. Browser capture. Shrink. Okay, we're shrinking. Miss Teacher, Garflin ate my homework. Frick you. Okay, I burned my... No, stop, guys. Okay, if you want any homework, your homework will be to think of a story concept and plug in, to flesh that out using what we talked about or for 3-act structure. Which, for reminder, for those coming in, our 3-act structure is... I'll write it down. Balance, inciting incident, big event, rising action, midpoint crisis, escape clause, climax, falling action, and new balance. I use my homework as TP. Well, freak you, Thanos. Okay, guys. But yes, guys, this is who we're promoting by Plasma Spin Studios. Once more, we are going to show off the teaser trailer for the brand new animated pilot, Pasta Fazool. Let's go. Up. And that is Pasta Fazool, my loves. That is Pasta Fazool. Once more, because I will keep plugging them because I am all about supporting those indie animation artists. Oh yeah, Zane, you missed it. We started the whole stream with the interview with the creator of this series. So make sure, guys, make sure to spread that around, guys. Make sure to spread that link all around. There is, let me type that out. Follow the new animated series Pasta Fazool, which, guys, there was potential talk that I might actually have a character in this series in season 2 if it makes it to that, guys. So, just saying, cool things could be happening, guys. But either way, regardless of that or not, support this series, guys. Follow them on YouTube, which I will post the YouTube right there. And also, make sure that you follow them on Blue Sky, because I will post the Blue Sky. You'll be following the creator of the show, Jablubi, right there on Blue Sky. There you go, guys. Make sure to subscribe to them on YouTube and follow their Blue Sky, guys. But on that note, guys, we've covered a lot. We've been going for a long time, but this has been an amazing day, guys. This has been a freaking amazing day. We did so heckin' much. And guys, thank you for staying with me through all of the tech issues. Thank you for all the raids today. Thank you for all the